Hello and welcome to PoE Bad Builds. False Prelate here, and I'd like to show you one of my best builds of the league. So, what I wanted to do here was make a Chieftain that was able to scale minion damage and basically make use of the fact that Blade Vortex has a really high base damage and be able to basically scale it even higher with fire damage as well. So I have the 100% conversion to fire, but I also wanted to make a lot of use of the minion damage I was getting. So I went out and I crafted a bone helmet with the 50% of fizz added as lightning, and I got a Herald of Purity setup rolling. So right now I'm running Herald of Purity on a 4-link, and basically no other auras except for Clarity, just to keep my mana up, and Blade Vortex, which is technically on a 5-link because I have Summon Phantasm linked up to it as well. So this build actually does quite a bit of damage. It's very tanky, as you see as I clear here. I'm kind of just flying through the map. This map had a lot of map mods and Vuln and Enfeeble, and it really didn't do anything. It didn't seem to matter. And the nice thing about Chieftain is you get the 1% life leech, so you have good leech, you have good regeneration, you have a reasonable amount of physical mitigation. You can, because you get the 100% fire res on the one node, gearing is like super easy. You can get lots of chaos res on gear. Yeah, overall it's just a really fun build to play. The Herald of Purity is do a ton of damage, just an absolute ton of damage. And I also have taunt on them, so they end up taking a lot of the brunt damage, but I don't even really need them to because I'm so tanky anyway. So I've got a couple of clips here to show you, and just so you can see what the damage is like on bosses. So the first boss that we have here is the Puppet Master boss from Infested Valley, and it drops pretty quickly. This is a shape map. This is kind of what I was running, doing a shape strat off of at the time. You'll notice that like I start going pretty quickly once I have 3 frenzy charges up from the Blood Apes. Here's Rigwald. I just about killed Rigwald in one phase here. And this is on a map with that's unidentified in a Zana mission, and it has Vuln. And I basically just sat there and just took all of his damage. It didn't really matter. So this build is definitely very, very strong. And finally, we have a video here of the Shikari Boss. A lot of people don't like this boss because it has multiple phases, but I like running it because the Scorpions actually give a lot of really good loot. But you'll see I'll take a couple of slams to the face, and they don't really do that much damage. Yeah, the boss damage itself, it drops pretty quickly. And it's definitely a very strong build. Okay, so let's take a look at this build and take a look at some of the gearing options and skill tree choices. So first things first, I'm dual wielding the Scourge Claw, which is really good because it gives you 100%, or sorry, 140% total minion damage if you've hit recently if you're dual wielding them, because it's 70 each. In my first one, I have a Clarity Desecrate setup, and in the second one, I have a Whirling Blade setup, with just like standard Whirling Blade slings. The helm is what makes this build. So basically what I did was I got a bone helmet with a high enough item level, and I slammed it with essences until I was able to get a +1 or a +2 to minion gems. Now I wasn't very lucky, only got the +1 after like multiple attempts, so I kind of just stopped here. Ideally I'd do this on an Elder bone helmet base, but they're like 120C starting, so eventually I'll end up doing that, but for now I'm just working with this. It's just a starter helm basically. In this slot, I have Herald of Purity with minion damage, melee physical, and added fire. In my glove slot, I have Grip of the Council. This is good because the 20% fizz as extra cold benefits both the purities and the phantasms that I'm using. In my chest piece, I have my Blade Vortex set up, and I have it linked with Controlled Destruction, Added Fire, Combustion, Immolate, and Summon Phantasm on kill. So basically the idea here is I'm not scaling any physical damage on my tree, so it doesn't matter if I get added fire or added fizz. So I'm just getting the extra flat fire to like scale up the damage of Blade Vortex with the minion damage and with fire damage. So it actually scales pretty easily. And this is technically a 5 link because the Summon Phantasm on kill takes up a slot. And the Summon Phantasm on kill benefits from all of these supports. And the nice thing about Chieftain is you get the Hinekora Death's Fury that gives you Ash, and that works really well with all those gem slots on both the Blade Vortex and on the Phantasms, and on the added fire damage on the Heralds. So that's definitely a really strong choice. So if we look at our skill points here, I have the life regen nodes, and I have the fire res node with the life regen. I have the fizz conversion here, and I have fizz conversion up here as added or avatar fire. This skill tree, I just came up here to grab life. I've got the duration nodes for both the Blade Vortex and for the Heralds and the Phantasm, so that kind of synergizes really well. I've got some minion damage here, some spell and elemental damage, and some area nodes with some elemental and elemental penetration nodes. Some more minion nodes over here. This is just for minion life and regen so that they don't die too much, and I have a little bit more tankiness front line with my purities. Hopefully I'll get rid of this at some point. I have more fire damage and fire pen up here. This node gets me 2 specters, so I'm using a specter setup right now. It's basically just to get frenzy charges, and then more damage, or more minion damage, spell damage, and life. So that's the passive tree. This build is very, very powerful. I would definitely recommend it. It's much stronger than a lot of the other bad builds that I've played this league. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.